A head of casino security recently took me into a quiet corner to whisper details that completely flip the script on everything you believe about slots. This specific method requires zero financial investment to start, demands no technical expertise, and gaming houses are silently instructing their personnel to flag gamblers who utilize it. By the time we finish this video, you will comprehend precisely why floor supervisors get anxious when they spot a patron applying this technique, and how you can implement it during your upcoming trip to the casino. The secrets I'm unveiling originate straight from former gaming staff who have witnessed this strategy succeed thousands of times and are finally speaking out. Let's dive right in with a real-life narrative that demonstrates exactly what we are facing. Meet a player we'll call Marcus. Just a regular guy working in construction, he'd drop by his local gambling hall perhaps twice a month. He wasn't unique. He had an average budget, typically bringing around $300 to gamble with. However, across an 18-month period, something curious began to occur. Based on reports from ex-pit bosses, Marcus was leaving the building with a profit more frequently than he was leaving with a loss. We aren't talking about massive jackpots. We're looking at $50 here, $100 there, occasionally $200. But it happened with enough consistency that the casino administration began detecting a trend in their player tracking software. Ex-surveillance room operators confirmed they began focusing on Marcus's method of play. They went back over tapes of his visits, broke down his betting habits, and monitored which cabinets he chose and the duration of his play. What they found wasn't card counting or an intricate math scheme. It wasn't even highly complex according to their breakdown, yet it was effective. And that reality made the casino executives incredibly uneasy based on private conversations. What exactly was Marcus doing to grab their focus? He was utilizing a technique insiders refer to as strategic observation, which serves as the bedrock of the zero-cost tactic we are about to explain. Prior to diving into the specific moves Marcus applied, I have a question for you. Have you ever strolled into a gambling venue, taken a seat at the first cabinet that looked entertaining, and simply began spinning without any strategy at all? Give me an honest answer in the comments, because that is precisely what the house hopes you will do, and it is the reason the vast majority of gamblers lose, according to industry studies. Now, before we uncover the complete method, I would be grateful if you smashed that subscribe button and left a comment saying, "What's your usual budget when you visit a casino?" Your response might actually assist other subscribers in defining their own bankroll strategy. Okay, let's dissect this zero-cost system one step at a time, and I guarantee by the end of this, you will view slot machines through an entirely new lens based on disclosures from casino staff. Step 1 involves the 20-minute scout. Here is what the floor staff observed Marcus doing. Per surveillance video reviews, he never sat down to gamble right away. Never. Rather, he would wander through the gaming floor for roughly 20 minutes, purely watching. He wasn't staring at the people, he was studying the machines. Specifically, he was monitoring which units were dispensing credits and which were stone cold. Based on his findings, ex-slot technicians clarified that although every spin is technically independent and random, there is a phenomenon they have noted over years of floor duty. Machines experience what industry experts term cycles. To be clear, these are not pre-programmed loops. The random number generator is genuinely random according to the engineering specs. However, over brief intervals, such as a few hours, specific machines will pay out more often than others due to sheer statistical variance. Marcus deduced this independently. According to the files, he understood that if he dedicated 20 minutes to mere observation, he could pinpoint cabinets currently experiencing a hot cycle. How did he identify them? Former workers state he scanned for 3 distinct signals. First, machines where users were hitting bonus rounds repeatedly within a 10-minute span. Second, units where he could hear constant winning audio cues, not necessarily massive jackpots, but steady small to mid-sized payouts. And third, machines where the players appeared calm and interested rather than angry or slamming the buttons. This is the aspect that renders this method zero cost. You are not betting money during these 20 minutes. You are investing your time, not your cash. And that investment of time yields returns according to what ex-casino personnel have witnessed. because by the moment Marcus finally picked a seat, he had already ruled out roughly 80% of the floor based on his scouting. He was strictly playing games that were displaying signs of activity. One ex-floor supervisor recalled viewing Marcus on the monitors and thinking, "This guy understands it." Per the supervisor's account, most visitors walk in and instantly start shoving cash into slots because the animations are bright or they know the theme from TV. But Marcus treated it like a hunt. He was stalking his target, biding his time, and only attacking when the environment was perfect. According to strategic breakdowns, we moved to step 2, the $20 test commitment. Once Marcus located a machine that appeared viable based on his 20-minute scout, he didn't just plop down and wager heavily. Per surveillance logs, he utilized what industry insiders refer to as a test commitment. Past employees state he would begin with exactly $20, and he adhered to a very strict regulation. If that game failed to provide him with at least 3 wins inside the initial 25 spins, he departed instantly. Here's why this is genius. According to gaming studies, most gamblers, when they take a seat, psychologically pledge to play that unit for a duration. They tell themselves, "I'm going to give this game a fair chance," which typically means they will spin until they have lost a set figure, perhaps $50 or $100, regardless if the machine is offering any indication of paying out, according to behavioral data. Marcus completely inverted that methodology. He wasn't offering the machine a fair chance. He was forcing the machine to validate itself to him within a highly restricted time frame according to his system. Ex-technicians stated that if a unit is genuinely in a positive cycle, you should witness some action within the opening 20 to 30 spins based on probability. It doesn't have to be a giant win, but something must happen. If you go 25 spins with 0 payouts, or perhaps just one meager win less than your wager, that is a warning sign. According to insider reports, notes from former pit bosses detail an instance where Marcus sat at a Buffalo slot, ran his $20 test, hit absolutely nothing, and stood up after 8 minutes. He relocated to a different Buffalo cabinet 3 rows away. Identical game, same denomination, yet this one had shown more life during his observation period. He executed his $20 test once more, and this time, within 15 spins, he landed a minor bonus paying $35. That was his green light to commit according to his plan. What ensures this is 0 cost. You are risking the absolute bare minimum to assess a machine's current condition, and more significantly, you are prepared to abandon poor situations before they transform into costly catastrophes. Former staff members estimate that this single rule likely preserved thousands of dollars for Marcus throughout those 18 months because he wasn't remaining at cold machines, burning through his budget while praying for a reversal that statistical analysis indicates wasn't arriving. Step 3 involves the bonus trigger exit. Now this is where Marcus's tactic becomes truly fascinating. According to casino staff monitoring, the majority of players, upon hitting a bonus feature, especially a solid one, get hyped up and think, "This slot is hot now, I need to continue." Marcus did the precise opposite based on the camera evidence. Former floor managers state that after Marcus landed his first substantial bonus on a unit, defined as anything paying 50 times his wager or higher, he would spin for exactly 15 additional minutes and then reassess. If he scored another bonus in that quarter-hour window, he kept the session going. However, if those 15 minutes ticked by without another substantial payout, he withdrew his funds and moved on, based on his established pattern. Industry insiders clarify why this tactic is so potent. According to their breakdown, when a slot machine delivers a large bonus, players feel a psychological magnetic pull to remain seated because their brain links that specific cabinet with success. But here is what former technicians know based on the data. Just because a machine paid out a solid bonus does not guarantee it will pay another one shortly. Recall that every spin is independent per the random number generator code. What Marcus grasped, whether through gut instinct or practice, according to the analysis, is that the jackpot he just landed might very well be the zenith of that machine's hot cycle. By allocating a 15-minute testing period to see if the action continued, he was verifying if the unit was genuinely experiencing an extended favorable variance or if he just snagged a solitary lucky break. If nothing substantial occurred in those 15 minutes, he secured his profit and went scouting for a fresh opportunity. Past surveillance crews recount numerous instances where they watched Marcus land a $200 feature, grind for another 15 minutes, pick up perhaps $40 in tiny wins, and then cash out and abandon the seat. Minutes later, a fresh gambler would take that same spot, notice the machine had recently paid a big bonus, and assume they were sitting at a hot game. They would then proceed to drop $300 in the ensuing hour, according to transaction logs. Marcus had already extracted the value and vanished while that machine cycled back to cold. A specific documented record details Marcus bagging a $180 bonus on a Lightning Link game. Former staff state he utilized his 15-minute assessment window, saw nothing huge, and cashed out a total of $290. He profited $90 for that run on that specific unit. The person who sat down following him dropped $250 in roughly 45 minutes, based on player tracking stats. The machine had dispensed what it intended to during that loop, but the subsequent player was clueless. Marcus knew, and that is why he exited, according to insider analysis. Step 4 covers denomination rotation. Here is a detail casino employees observed that truly amplified the effectiveness of Marcus's strategy. Per management reports, he refused to anchor himself to one single denomination all night. He would rotate between penny games, quarter machines, and dollar slots, depending on the status of his bankroll and what he was observing on the floor. Ex-pit bosses explained that Marcus appeared to grasp a concept most casual leisure players miss. Based on their observations, distinct denominations possess unique volatility patterns and different player demographics. Penny slots draw the biggest crowds because they're accessible to every budget, per floor traffic statistics. However, that also implies they're the most consistently played, and per casino theory, they're frequently configured with inferior payback rates to accommodate the high volume of traffic. Quarter and dollar machines typically boast superior RTPs, according to the industry data we mentioned earlier, but they also demand a larger bankroll to spin safely. Marcus had figured out a rotation system based on his success during the session. Per reports, former employees noted he would typically kick off his evening on quarter machines during his initial scouting and testing phase. If he snagged an early win and boosted his stack by $100 or better, he graduated to dollar machines for the enhanced payback percentages. Conversely, if he was enduring a rockier start and his funds were shrinking, he shifted down to penny slots where his money would stretch longer. According to strategic thinking, what renders this zero cost is the flexibility. Analysis shows Marcus was not locked into any particular denomination due to ego or routine. He was adapting to conditions in real time. Former floor supervisors describe watching him transfer from a dollar Wheel of Fortune machine where he just won $120 over to a penny Dragon Link machine in a separate section of the casino. He would scout that area for a few minutes and then settle on a quarter Buffalo machine based on what he was seeing. This variety in denominations achieves two goals per insider analysis. First, it prevents you from incinerating your bankroll too fast on high denomination machines during cold stretches. And second, it allows you to leverage better payback percentages when you have built up enough cushion to play higher denominations securely.
It is bankroll management without needing a finance degree, according to former employee observations. Step 5 is the 2-hour hard stop. We are now arriving at what former casino personnel claim is likely the most vital component of Marcus's zero-cost strategy, and it is the toughest part for most players to follow, according to behavioral analysis. Marcus never, ever remained in the casino past 2 hours in a single session based on surveillance records. It didn't matter if he was winning. It didn't matter if he just hit a bonus. When his phone timer hit the 2-hour mark, he cashed out and left. According to consistent observations, former floor supervisors report this infuriated casino management because they could verify in their player tracking system that Marcus was frequently departing while ahead, sometimes significantly ahead. The casino's entire business model is built on the assumption that players will keep playing until they have lost back their winnings, plus additional money from their bankroll, according to industry structure. But Marcus wasn't following that script. Here is why the 2-hour hard stop is so psychologically powerful, according to gaming experts. After roughly 2 hours in a casino environment, your decision-making ability starts to deteriorate. According to behavioral research, the lights, the sounds, the lack of windows or clocks, the free drinks if you are at certain venues, it all adds up to mental fatigue. Former dealers explain they can literally see it in players' eyes after a couple of hours. The sharpness is gone, and that is when bad decisions start happening. Per their observations, Marcus understood this somehow. According to analysis, by limiting himself to 2-hour sessions, he was ensuring he never reached that mental fatigue point where he would start making emotional decisions instead of strategic ones. Former employees describe him checking his phone timer multiple times during the final 15 minutes of his session, clearly preparing to leave regardless of his current situation. One particularly interesting incident reported by former pit bosses involved Marcus being up $340 at the 1 hour and 50-minute mark of his session. He was on a hot Dragon Link machine that had just paid him 2 hold and spin features within 30 minutes. Any normal player would have kept going, according to typical behavior patterns, but at the 2-hour mark, Marcus cashed out mid-session and walked out, according to surveillance footage. The floor manager who was watching on camera later said, "That is when I realized this guy has genuine discipline. Most people can't walk away from a hot machine with money in their pocket." What happened to that machine after Marcus left? Former employees report another player sat down within minutes, played for 90 minutes, and gave back $280 to that same machine. The hot cycle had ended, but that player didn't have a hard stop rule like Marcus did. They kept playing until the machine took everything, according to transaction records. Step 6. The zone rotation principle. Here is a detail that casino surveillance teams picked up on. According to security staff reports, Marcus never played in the same zone of the casino 2 visits in a row. If he played the south section of the floor on his previous visit, he would start in the north section next time. Former employees explained this caught their attention because most regular players are creatures of habit, according to player tracking patterns. They have their favorite machines or their favorite areas, and they go straight there every time. But Marcus was deliberately avoiding patterns according to his behavior. Why does this matter? Former slot technicians reveal something interesting about how casinos manage their floors. While every machine is supposed to be random and every area is supposed to be equal, casinos do pay attention to performance zones, according to operational data. If a particular section of the floor is underperforming, meaning players aren't losing as much money there as projected, management might look into whether those machines need maintenance or whether they should adjust the mix of games in that area. Conversely, if a zone is overperforming, meaning it is taking more money than expected according to metrics, casinos are happy to leave it exactly as is. Former managers explained that by rotating which zones he played in, Marcus was essentially spreading his action across the entire casino floor and avoiding any zone that might be currently configured to be especially tight based on recent performance data. There is also a psychological benefit. According to behavioral analysis, playing in different zones keeps the experience fresh and prevents you from developing emotional attachments to specific machines or areas. Former employees describe players who sit at the same machine every visit, sometimes even getting territorial about it. And those players are often among the biggest losers, according to tracking data, because they are not making strategic decisions about where to play. They're making emotional ones. Marcus's zone rotation meant he was always starting fresh, always scouting new territory, and never falling into the trap of thinking he had a lucky machine. According to his strategy, this zero-cost principle is purely about mindset and discipline, but former casino workers say it is shockingly effective at preventing the kind of emotional attachment that leads to big losses. Step 7. The session-to-session memory. Former casino employees report that Marcus kept a simple notes app on his phone, and after every casino visit, he would spend about 5 minutes making notes. Not detailed records or complicated spreadsheets, just simple observations according to what security staff could see when he was in the parking lot before driving away. Things like Dragon Link by Sports Bar paid well tonight, or Buffalo machines near entrance were cold, according to his patterns. Here is why this zero-cost habit is more powerful than it sounds, according to gaming analysis. Most players have absolutely no memory of their previous sessions, beyond a vague feeling of whether they won or lost.
They can't tell you which specific machines paid, which areas of the casino were hot, or what time of day they had their best results, according to behavioral studies. But Marcus was building a knowledge base that informed his future decisions, according to the intelligence he was gathering. Former floor managers explained that over time, Marcus would have noticed patterns that aren't necessarily about the machines being rigged or set, but about operational realities of that specific casino, according to observational data. Maybe Thursday nights the casino was quieter and machines seemed to cycle differently than packed Saturday nights. Maybe the newer machines near the main entrance consistently underperformed compared to the older machines in the back sections. These observations accumulated over 18 months gave Marcus an edge that cost him absolutely nothing except 5 minutes of note-taking after each visit. One former pit boss described reviewing Marcus's player tracking data and being impressed by how his winning percentage seemed to improve over time. In his first 6 months of using this strategy, he was breaking even or slightly ahead, according to records. But by month 12, and definitely by month 18, he was consistently walking out ahead more often than not. The session notes were turning into a pattern recognition database, according to analysis, and Marcus was getting better at reading the casino floor with every visit. Now, this isn't about finding loose machines or thinking that certain machines are luckier than others. Remember, every spin is random. But what Marcus discovered through his notes was which types of machines, in which locations, during which circumstances seemed to provide better entertainment value and more frequent wins during his specific sessions. That is actionable intelligence, according to insider perspectives. The psychology behind why this works. Let's talk about why casinos actually fear this strategy. According to former management personnel, it is not because Marcus was beating the house or breaking the bank. Over 18 months, former employees estimate he was probably ahead maybe $3,000 to $5,000 total, which isn't life-changing money. But here is what made casino management uncomfortable. According to internal discussions that were reported by former staff, Marcus was playing disciplined, strategic slot machine gambling, and if more players started doing what he was doing, the casino's profit model would be threatened. According to financial analysis, the entire slot machine revenue system is built on the assumption that players will be impulsive, emotional, undisciplined, and willing to chase losses, according to industry structure. Players like Marcus, who scout before playing, test machines minimally, leave after bonuses, rotate denominations strategically, enforce hard time limits, avoid pattern traps, and keep session notes, are the opposite of what casinos want, according to management preferences. Former marketing directors have explained that casinos spend millions of dollars on lighting, sound design, carpet patterns, room layouts, and complementary services, all designed to keep you playing longer and more impulsively. According to psychological research, everything about the casino environment is engineered to make you forget about time, forget about strategy, and just keep pushing that spin button, according to design principles. Marcus's zero-cost strategy counters every single one of those psychological manipulation tactics, according to behavioral analysis. The 20-minute scout forces patience and observation instead of impulse. The $20 test prevents commitment to bad situations. The bonus trigger exit prevents the hot machine fallacy. The denomination rotation prevents ego-driven betting.
The 2-hour hard stop prevents mental fatigue and emotional decisions. The zone rotation prevents emotional attachment, and the session notes create accountability and learning according to strategic benefits. Real results from real players. Since Marcus's pattern was noticed by casino staff, former employees report they started paying attention to other players who showed similar behaviors, and they found a handful of them. According to surveillance observations, not many, maybe 5 or 6 out of thousands of regular players at that particular casino, but they all shared common traits based on analysis. One player, a woman named Sarah, according to reports, was using almost the identical strategy. Former pit bosses noted she would scout for about 15 minutes, test machines with small amounts, and religiously left after 90 minutes no matter what. Her player tracking data showed she visited twice a week for over a year, and her net loss was only about $400 total, according to records. That is less than $8 per visit for 90 minutes of entertainment twice a week for a year. That is remarkable, according to mathematical analysis. Another player, an older gentleman named Robert, according to surveillance reports, had his own version. He focused entirely on video poker machines and employed a similar scouting technique, looking for machines where other players were hitting hands frequently. He would test with $40, and if he didn't hit at least 2 paying hands in his first 20 rounds, he would move on. Former employees estimate Robert was actually ahead over a 2-year period, possibly by as much as $2,000, playing this disciplined approach, according to tracking data. What all these players had in common, according to insider analysis, was the zero-cost foundation. None of them were using complicated systems or betting progressions. None of them were superstitious about hot or cold machines in a mystical sense. They were simply applying observation, discipline, and strategic thinking to an activity that most people approach emotionally and impulsively, according to behavioral patterns. Common mistakes players make. Now, before we wrap up, let's talk about why most players never stumble onto this strategy naturally. According to former employee observations, former dealers and floor staff have identified 5 critical mistakes that prevent typical players from ever playing as effectively as Marcus, according to their analysis. Mistake number 1, sitting down immediately. Most players walk straight from the entrance to a machine and start playing within 2 minutes. According to traffic flow observations, they skip the entire scouting phase that would give them information about current floor conditions. It's like going hunting without tracking your prey first, according to the analogy. Mistake number 2, committing too deeply too quickly. Former pit bosses report the typical player will sit at a machine and play their entire session bankroll at that one spot. If it's a bad machine, they have just lost everything without ever testing other options. Marcus never committed more than $20 to test a machine according to his method, which meant he usually had multiple opportunities to find a better situation. Mistake number 3, chasing after bonus hits. This is the killer. According to behavioral analysis, former employees estimate that 80% of players who hit a decent bonus will keep playing at that same machine until they have lost back the entire bonus, plus additional money from their original bankroll. The dopamine rush from the bonus win overrides any logical decision-making about whether to move on, according to psychological patterns.
Mistake number 4, playing until broke. Former surveillance staff report that the majority of players don't have a time-based stopping point. They play until they have lost their predetermined loss limit, which means they are guaranteeing themselves a losing session, according to the math. Marcus's 2-hour hard stop meant he sometimes left while ahead, which is the only way to actually walk out a winner. Mistake number 5, no learning between sessions. Most players, according to observations, have the second player's same experience every single visit because they never analyze what worked and what didn't. They are starting from zero knowledge every time, while players like Marcus were building accumulated wisdom about that specific casino's patterns and their own playing tendencies. Your action plan, implementing the strategy. All right,
You have now learned the complete zero-cost strategy that casino employees noticed Marcus using to consistently walk out ahead over 18 months. Here is exactly how to implement it on your very next casino visit according to the step-by-step method. Step 1. Set your session time limit before you walk in, 2 hours maximum. Set a phone timer, non-negotiable, according to the strategy. Step 2. Spend your first 20 minutes scouting. Don't touch a single machine. Walk the floor. Watch which machines are paying. Listen for win sounds. Observe player body language according to the observation protocol. Step 3. Identify 3 to 5 machines that showed signs of activity during your scout. These are your target machines for the session according to selection criteria. Step 4. Approach your first target machine with $20 only. Play 25 spins at minimum bet that covers all lines. If you get at least 3 wins in those 25 spins, consider committing to that machine. If not, move to your next target immediately, according to the test structure. Step 5. If you hit a bonus that pays 50x or more, play for exactly 15 more minutes, then evaluate. Another good bonus? Keep playing. Nothing significant? Cash out and scout for your next opportunity, according to the bonus protocol. Step 6. Rotate denominations based on your bankroll status. Building profit? Move up to better RTP games. Losing? Move down to preserve playing time, according to the adaptation guidelines. Step 7. When your 2-hour timer goes off, cash out immediately. No exceptions. Even if you are on a hot machine, even if you just hit a bonus, discipline beats opportunity every single time, according to the principles. Step 8. In your car, before leaving, spend 5 minutes making notes on your phone. Which machines paid? Which zones were active? What time was it? What denomination worked best? This intelligence will inform your next visit, according to the learning system. Final thoughts. Here is the truth that former casino employees want you to understand based on their insider perspective. You cannot beat slot machines in the long run. The math is against you, the house edge is real, and random number generators don't care about your strategy, according to technical facts. But what you can do is play smarter, lose slower, and occasionally walk out ahead by applying discipline and observation to a game that most people play emotionally and impulsively, according to strategic analysis. Marcus wasn't a professional gambler. He wasn't counting cards or using some secret system. He was simply doing the opposite of what casinos design their floors to make you do, according to strategic analysis. He was patient when they wanted impulsiveness. He was selective when they wanted randomness. He was disciplined when they encouraged emotional play. And he was analytical when they promoted superstition. This zero-cost strategy won't make you rich, according to realistic expectations. It won't guarantee you will win every session, but former employees who watched Marcus over 18 months report that it will give you a fighting chance to enjoy slot machines as entertainment without destroying your bankroll in the process. And that is something casinos genuinely fear. A player who understands the game well enough to play it on their own terms, according to insider testimony. So now I want to hear from you. Which part of this zero-cost strategy seems hardest for you to implement? The 20-minute scouting patience? The $20 test discipline? The bonus trigger exit? The 2-hour hard stop? Be honest in the comments, because that self-awareness is the first step toward actually using this strategy effectively. If this video opened your eyes to a completely different way of approaching slot machines, hit that like button right now. If you want more insider casino strategies that former employees are revealing, subscribe and turn on notifications, and share this video with anyone you know who loves playing slots, because the more people who play smart, the more casinos will have to respect their players, according to industry dynamics. Remember, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Gambling should always be done responsibly within your means. If you feel gambling is affecting your life negatively, please contact your local problem gambling helpline for confidential support. The casino will always have the edge, but with the zero-cost strategy you have learned today, you can minimize that edge and maximize your entertainment value according to the strategic framework. Play smart, stay disciplined, and maybe, just maybe, you will walk out ahead like Marcus did.
Good luck out there, and I will see you in the next video where we will expose something even more shocking about how casinos manipulate player behavior. You won't want to miss it.